All right. Yeah, this would be day 8 of the interview. Even though that I wasn't able to make it to school today, we could still do an interview. Yeah, I didn't make it to school today because when my alarm went off, I just continued to sleep in and I didn't want to wake up. And then by the time I woke back up, it was like 10 something. And I said, "Oh no, I must have overslept." Yeah, so I didn't make it to school today, but hopefully my absence will be excused. I really hope that it'll be an excused absent today. Yeah, I think I've been absent too much times. Yeah, I don't know why I overslept. I don't know why I didn't wake up. I went to bed on time, but I don't know what happened. Yeah, but I just hope my absence will be excused. Yeah, I hope that'll happen. Yeah. All right. So, I was I was supposed to be finishing up a speech activity today, but I might have to make it up because I was supposed to be finishing up a speech activity with my speech language pathologist, but I don't think I'll be able to do it today because I'm not in school, so I might have to make it up since I was absent today. So then so next week I might have to make it up since I was absent today. I might have to do a makeup activity for I might have to do a makeup activity for speech since I was absent today. Yeah, but I'm not talking about group, but I'm talking about the activity that I had to do by myself without any of my classmates. I'm talking about that speech activity. Yeah, I might have to do a makeup activity since I was absent today. Because today I was supposed to be finishing up the speech activity, but I'm absent today, so I might have to do a makeup activity since I was absent today. Yeah, I might have to do a makeup activity for speech since I was absent today. Yeah, I might have to make it up since I was absent today. All right, so what should we talk about today? Give me a minute. I gotta get something. All right, Anthony. Yeah, I just need to get something. Sorry. I gotta stop saying sorry because I say sorry too much, so I gotta say things like I apologize or my bad. But I gotta stop saying sorry because maybe I say sorry too much. So yeah, maybe I should stop saying sorry it's too much. All right. it was about something. I'm looking for something. Just give me a minute. Yeah, I think I lost the paper, but I'm gonna do some. I'm gonna make some. Let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, I'm just trying to look for something. All right, Caesar. What do you think we should talk about? What do you think we should talk about? I think that we should talk about something. So, um, so recently, I, so my goals are to tell the truth and to stop lying, because if I lie, then people won't believe me. Because when I remember when one time or maybe multiple times I would tell my teachers that I was gonna move to Pike Creek, but my teachers asked my parent, am I moving to Pike Creek? And then she said no. And then she said, Anthony, and then my teacher said, Anthony, your mother told me that you're not gonna that you're not gonna move, but maybe I was lying about it. But I gotta stop lying, because I can't just lie about everything. I gotta tell the truth all the time. Well, I mean, I might not like living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware, but that doesn't mean that just because I don't like living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware, that doesn't mean I could just go out and move. That's not how it works. Because moving is a lot of work. And it might be expensive to move out of the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware. Because a big house in the suburbs in Delaware, that might be a lot of money. So I'm gonna have to wait, because moving really is a lot of work. Well, there are still fun things I could do in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware, but I just didn't know it. But I didn't really care to know, because I was too focused on moving out of the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware. That was the only thing I was focused on. Getting out of the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware. I know I don't like living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware, but I know I don't like living in the city limits within the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware, but right now I have to stay, because moving really is a lot of work. And I gotta stop complaining about where I live. I hope that's not the screaming again. Sorry about that. So I'm gonna try my best to stop always complaining about where I live, because I have a good life though. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry about that. My sibling keeps on screeching, whatever it's called. But I'm gonna try not to. I'm gonna try. I know it's a little challenging, but I'm gonna try to work through it and ignore it. All right. So, I feel like that I only I I was okay. I feel like I was okay with living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware, until I started going to a Pike Creek school, I guess. ever since I started going to a school called Skyline Middle School, then that's when I started to have a problem with where I live. And that's when I started to complain and talk about, oh, I hate living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware. When are we going to move? When we move, I will be so excited, and I'm never stepping foot in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware again. But I'm not going to complain. I'm going to try not to complain because my parent worked so hard to buy this house, because probably like $200,000 or something. I don't know. But I'm gonna I'm not gonna I'm not gonna lie anymore. And I know it might not be everybody's problem that I don't like living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware. And I'm not saying it is everybody's problem. I'm just saying I just want my friends to know. And I just want my family to know. But yeah. But maybe if I keep complaining about it, then I might have to live in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware even longer. And it'll be hard for me to move out. And it'll be hard for me to get a better house than the one I live in right now, if I keep complaining. But if I be grateful for how I live, and if I be grateful that I have a house with my own bedroom, my house has more than one bathrooms, and my house has a fabulous inside. Well, I mean, the inside of my house is fabulous, but I just don't like where I live because I live in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware. But just because I live in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware, that doesn't mean that I don't have a good life. I do have a good life, though. But if I be grateful for how I live and stop complaining about where I live, then it'll be pretty easy for me to get a better house, and I'll probably move out of the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware in no time. And maybe by the time I get to 8th grade, I might not be living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware anymore. Well, I don't know. I hope by the time I get to 8th grade, I'm not going to be still living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware. I hope I don't, but maybe if I stop complaining about where I live, then it'll probably happen. But, yeah, it might happen. By the time I get to 8th grade, or by the time I get to summer school for 7th grade, then I might not be living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware anymore. And I might be living in the suburbs. And to be honest, I want to live in Newark, Delaware, but right now it might be expensive. But and also I also want to live in Newark, Delaware because most of my friends live there, and I want to live close to where my friends live. But yeah. But again, just because I don't like living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware, that doesn't mean that we could just go out and move. That's not how it works, because moving is a lot of work. And I'm gonna stop lying and saying that I'm gonna move to Pike Creek right away, because moving's a lot of work, so I can't just move right away. And I know I probably talk about this every day, but it might not be so hard to stop complaining. It might not be so hard to stop complaining about where I live. it might be easy to stop complaining, but maybe I just don't want to. But sometimes I have to do things I don't want to do. And sometimes I have to deal with things I yeah, I gotta stop complaining about things I don't have. And I have to be grateful for all the good things I have. Yeah, it might not be so hard to stop complaining about where I live. It might be easy, but maybe I just don't want to stop because I think that if I keep complaining, maybe I thought that if I keep complaining, then I might move soon, but if I keep complaining, then I might have to live in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware even longer. But so that's why I'm going to try to stop complaining all the time. Yeah. Um what about you, Cesar? Do you like living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware? To be honest, I don't really like living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware either. But I don't complain about where I live, and I'm gonna be grateful for how, and I usually be grateful for how I live, because I believe that if I be grateful for how I live, then we might get a better house than the house you live in right now. And maybe by the time you get to 8th grade, you might not be living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware anymore. That's what I believe. But I believe that if you continue to complain about it, then it's going to be hard for you to get what you want, I guess. And do you think I'm going to live in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware forever? You will, if that's what you believe. But if you focus on doing what you need to do and and if you focus on doing what you're supposed to do instead of just focusing on doing whatever you want to do, and if you stop complaining about where you live and be grateful for how you live, then you might be able to get everything you might be able to get most of the things you want, and you're going to be successful. Oh, I think that's true. Thanks for telling me. No problem. Uh, so, uh, what do you think that you should do? Uh, what do you think that, uh, so what are you gonna do when you get back to school? When I get back to school, I'm gonna try not to get any reminders. And I'm gonna try not to get any prompts either. Because if I get reminders, that might that might not be 7th grade. That might not be me being a serious 7th grader. So a serious 7th grader would be doing what you're supposed to do in school. But I can't, when I go to school, I need to do my job. I can't just do my own thing when I'm in school. I gotta do my job when I'm in school. So when I'm in school, when I'm in science or social studies or math or English, that that's not a class where I could just do my own thing. Those are some classes that I have to, especially science and social studies. Those aren't some classes that I get to do my own thing. Those are some classes that I have to work hard in. And in social studies class, you don't even get to have any free time and you have to do all work. But I think that science might be a lot of work too. But I remember I remember when I was in science class, and I needed 3 reminders because I was doing my own thing and I was doodling. I was supposed to be being an active listener, but instead I was just doing my own thing and I was doodling on my whiteboard. And even on my papers I would doodle. Yeah, but doodling is not my job in science class. So in class, I can't just doodle. That's something I could do during my free time. But if I had a worksheet, I can't just focus on doodling. I have to do my work. And I need to do my job when I'm in school. Whenever I have a job to do, I need to just do it. Yeah, whenever I have a job in school, whenever I'm in school and whenever I have a job to do, I just need to do my job. And I'm probably gonna do something educational later. I might read for 30 minutes. And I might do a little bit of schoolwork since I didn't go to school today. But I don't know. I might read for 30 minutes, but I might do some schoolwork or I might not. But I do know that I'm gonna have to read for 30 minutes because I'm supposed to be reading for 30 minutes every day while I'm at home. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. All right. Question. What are your favorite TV shows? My Little Pony, WWE SmackDown, WWE Monday Night Raw. Well, I mean, I kind of like South Park, but even though you gotta be like 16 to watch that, I do kind of like South Park. But yeah, I like My Little Pony. I like WWE SmackDown. I like Yeah, do not judge me for liking My Little Pony. I know that My Little Pony is something that only little girls like to watch, but My Little Pony is a TV show that interests me. So don't judge me for liking My Little Pony. Anyway, I like Molly of Denali, Daniel Tiger, Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario Brothers, Danny Phantom, Yogi Bear, and his sidekick Boo Boo. Woody Woodpecker, Powerpuff Girls. That's another TV show that I like. That's for girls. That Yeah, My Little Pony and Powerpuff Girls. I know that those two TV shows are something that only little girls like to watch, but I like watching those shows. I like Miraculous Ladybug. I like BFB, Battle Island or something, I think it's called. Yeah, I think it's called that. The Simpsons. I can't remember. I might make a post on YouTube about all my favorite characters again. Alright, well, what are some TV shows you don't like? Number 1, I don't like Teletubbies. Number 2, I do not like PB&J Otter. Number 3, I do not like Caillou. Number 4, I do not like Barney. Barney the dinosaur. Barney. I do not like Barney and Friends. Number 5, I do not like number 5, I do not like Cocomelon. Number 6, I do not like I don't really care for Peppa Pig that much. Number 6, I don't like number 6, I do not like horrid something. I don't like, yeah, I just keep forgetting. I might make a post on YouTube about TV shows I don't like too. All right, this is day 8 of the interview. And I didn't make a video today about my day at school because I didn't make it to school today. Because it was 6 o'clock in the morning and I was supposed to be waking up, but then I went back to sleep. And then I didn't want to wake up, so then I went back to sleep. I was going to wake back up at 6:30, but then I was just too tired. And then when I woke back up, it was 10 something. And then I said, "Oh no." And then I said, "Oh no, I'm missing school today." I always say "oh no" whenever I miss school or whenever I oversleep. That's what I say. I always get anxious when I oversleep. Yeah, I just wanted you guys to know that I want my family and friends to know that I get anxious when I oversleep. When I wake up and when I check the time, and I get anxious when I find out that I oversleep. All right, guys. I guess I'm gonna end here. This was day 8 of the interview of me and Cesar. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. All right. Goodbye.